Art of Relationships radio show is copyrighted. No one is to use any part of the show without express written consent from myself, Greg Dudzinski, or the Art of Relationships. Thank you.
Welcome to the Art of Relationships radio show. Greg welcomes live calls from listeners in helping with numerous marital and relationship problems. There will be no more tit-for-tat arguments. Greg gets to the root of couples' challenges in a rapid, matter-of-fact format, plus applies compassion and humor. Join in discovering how to improve your relationship and your own life. Listen, laugh, and climax. Greg is a licensed professional counselor in the state of Michigan. To others, he's simply known as Detroit's Love Guru.
Hey, welcome everybody. It is Greg, Detroit's Love Guru. Greg Dudzinski here, licensed professional counselor in Metro Detroit, Michigan, okay? Relationship and sex specialist, of course, as well. Welcome to the Art of Relationships radio show. During the holiday, I did take a little bit of time off from the show, so it's good to be back, people. I hope everybody is having a great 2018 new year right now. Hopefully everything's going smooth for you. I hope you and your loved ones are very safe. And I also hope you're kicking up the love juices, if you will, in your relationship or in your marriage. And those single ones out there, are you looking at yourself and doing the work and what type of relationship you would love to have in the near future? And what are you doing to put yourself out there, people, okay? And tonight, we're going to talk about, maybe the dating realm and relationships and marriages as a whole. We're going to talk about non-consensual sex and also about selling yourself out. The two sort of go hand in hand, right? So, non-consensual sex. We're not going to talk about rape. I'll do a special show on trauma and rape survivors to try to help empower them and to, heal from that trauma. But this, I'm not talking about rape aspects here or forced sexual aspects. This is talking about non-consensual sex where, you know what, you ladies might be just doing it just to get your husband or boyfriend to shut up and quit nagging, right? This is a situation where you're just going through the motion. You really don't want to do it, but you're doing it anyways because you feel pressured, you feel maybe manipulated, guilt-tripped, or shamed into having sex. And this goes hand in hand, as you know, with selling yourself out, doing stuff you really don't want to do. And of course, this isn't just for ladies out there. There's men in my office over the many years I've been doing this. You know what? They'll have sex because, they feel they should, to get their girlfriend or wife off their backs about sex, whatever. Believe it or not, most of the complaints for lack of sex do come from you ladies, believe it or not. The guy could be stressed and maybe just, throwing you a bone, no pun intended, throwing you, I'll do it, I'll just go through the motions and, give her what I should do. That you sell yourself out, you end up having sex, and it's really non-consensual. And everybody says, when you have sex, it's consensual, right? It's your choice. It is your choice, you're right. But you know what? Maybe you're doing it because you think you should, because doing your manly duties, your womanly, wifely duties, or you know what? You don't want to be guilt-tripped. You don't want to hear her or his mouth anymore, or complaints, so you just do it to keep them quiet. How many people have been in that situation and been into, the element to where, you've been there before and you know what? It doesn't feel that good. My question is, why are you doing it? Number one, okay? Why are you selling yourself out and doing something you really don't want to do? And I hear this all the time, Greg, because, I'd rather just lay there, get it over with, than listen to him. Or, I'd rather just do her and not listen to her nag or complain at me anymore. It's one of those situations, right, where, is it pain or pleasure type situations? Which one is more painful for you? And is that why you're selling yourself out and you sort of fall into the non-consensual sexual realms? Or, we can get into other realms as we will as the show continues as well. Grace and Treva, hey, welcome. Happy New Year to you, Treva. And Grace, hopefully your new year is going very, very well. And as always, people, you can chime in the discussion below the live video and ask your questions. Throw your insights out there. It makes for a lively show. And not only do others learn from you, I might learn from you as well, okay? I'm all about a lifelong learner and evolving and growing as a therapist and as an individual as well. So you know what? Throw your comments out there. Throw your questions at me too. The show is about you. The Art of Relationships radio show is about helping you have the relationship that you crave, and also for you single people out there to help you sort of, pave the way for the life and the love life that you would like in the future, okay? And also check out my website, theartofrelationships.org. And as always, again, people, give me a call with your questions. Don't be shy. 313-614-9498, and that information is above the video here, okay? And also share this live video, people, for a chance to win my book for free, The Relationship Guide: Tools to Ignite Love and Intimacy, okay? So check it out. You get a chance to win a free copy of my book. I'm giving away 3 copies, and I gave away for the new year 4 copies for sharing a little bit of self-help program I have going on my website as well. So join the fun. We're going to talk about non-consensual sex, and I want to know what is going on. What leads you into maybe giving in when you're really not in the mood, you're not turned on by your partner, maybe you don't even like your partner, okay, but are just, going through with having sex. I call that non-consensual sex. A lot of people might disagree with me on that. Well, you're doing it anyways. You're agreeing to do it. You're not saying no, so it's, consensual. You know what? We could get on debate, but we'll just, it's my show, so I'm going to say, non-consensual sex, and take a different look at that to where you're able to look at how many people have been in that situation to where, you have had sex when you really didn't want to. You weren't connected with that person, and you did it, because maybe you're a bleeding heart. Maybe you're a people pleaser, and you don't want to hurt their feelings. You don't want to make them feel bad and say no. And you sold yourself out and went through it, and then you felt terrible for doing it after. Yes, I have been there too. Yes, Detroit's Love Guru has been there himself many, many years ago, okay? But I've learned. So you look at, hey, Christy, what's up, people? Welcome. And I hope everybody is going, like I said, having a great, happy new year. And I want to know, again, give me your feedback, people. Have you been in a situation where you have had the non-consensual sex in your life? It could be in your past. Maybe you're still doing it now. And my question and my challenge for you is to look at why are you doing it, and what is it going to take for you to stop? Where you're not in the mood, you don't want to have sex, you're not connected to that person, so you're going to say, peace out, I don't want that. It doesn't matter if we're married, if we're, in a long-term relationship, if we're dating for a while. Those situations, the wifely duty, the husbandly duty, that's a bunch of bullshit, okay? Plain and simple, that's bullshit. And I get this all the time, from guys, from women. I'm his wife, Greg. I'm supposed to have sex with him. She's my wife, Greg. That's part of the deal. She's supposed to have, sex with me. She's my wife. And I'm like, really? You want someone to have sex with you, regardless if it's your spouse or not, to have sex with you, even though they don't. You know what? That's sad. Why would you do that to yourself? And going back on you people out there that are the ones that are having the non-consensual sex out of manipulation, out of guilt, out of shame. I do understand it, okay? I get, you might feel guilty. My question is, I want to build you up, have you more confident where you say, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not in the mood. You treat me like shit. You belittle me, degrade me, call me names, and yet you want me to make love with you? You need to say no and not get guilt tripped into. Or, the old, let's face it, the old scenario is how many people have been in a situation where, we haven't had sex in 5 days, a week, or whatever. You know what? We need to do it. Oh, how hot. How romantic is that, people? That get you hot and turned on and get you all tingly in all the right places, people. You know what? Not really. It's like, oh, okay. You know what? Leave me alone and I'll do you. That means, you know what? I don't have to hear or talk to you in another month or a week or two, right? And it's a sad situation. And you're right, Treva. It's, obligation. Is non-consensual sex, Treva, for you, would that be considered an obligation? I love that word. And that's basically what people get into, and they sort of do it out of obligation. We know for ourselves, if we do things out of obligation, we're not that keen on doing them. We're not that motivated, right? We are motivated when we want to do something, right? We want to do something, that's when we're motivated. When we're in love with our partner, when we are turned on by a partner, there's an emotional connection, we want to make love. Of course, we're more in the mood to do it more often. We want to, right? And we all know, when we're tired, when we're not feeling well, we're exhausted. People have, maybe 2, 3 young kids, and they both work and they're exhausted. And yeah, it takes a toll. And do you still go on to, we need to have sex because we haven't had it in a while. And I'm all about, sex and making love brings you closer together. Hopefully, that's, my hope, that it brings you closer together. It creates more of a union emotionally and physically for you two. Plus, let's face it, it helps reduce stress and might make you just feel good, therefore reducing, the arguments, the tit for tat, and the distance going on. But, you know what? That's all fine and dandy. However, if you're just having sex because, it's Saturday night, we have to, you know what? That's sad. And that's a situation where I don't want you to fall into anymore. And I want you to be able to stick up for yourself. And I want you to be able to say, no, I'm not putting up with obligation. I'm not putting up with making love with you or anybody when I don't want to, okay? And you know what? I want to hear some of you on there. What are some situations that you have been in, had non-consensual sex where you're manipulated, guilted, shamed, or, as Treva said, out of obligation, where you've had sex and you really, you felt like crap after it, like you sold yourself out. And my view on selling yourself out is, of course, doing something that is totally against your values and your morals. And we all have, morals and values are very subjective throughout the world, okay? It doesn't mean that, people that are swingers or in the lifestyle or have an open relationship or that are poly, that they don't have boundaries, morals, or values. Not at all. You deem your own values. You deem your own morals, but you don't sell yourself out. You don't do anything you don't really want to do that is the essence of who you are. That is, that means that, you are on a one-on-one relationship. You want that. That's all you want, and you're not going to get into a threesome. You're not going to all of a sudden be a swinger or go into the poly lifestyle, right? And you're doing it out of obligation so you don't lose your partner, right? You're doing it, let's face it, is that non-consensual acts, and there are so many different ones. It could be not just non-consensual sex. How many people are in relationships and it's really non-consensual? It could be arranged marriages, arranged relationships. It could be maybe you're doing it, sad to say, out of finances, financial situations. You're doing it, a non-consensual relationship or marriage because, let's face it, we have kids together, so we have to stay together. That's one of the unhealthiest things you can do for a kid. So let's hear. Give me a call, 313-614-9498. And you know what? Give me your insights on how many situations, or not only how many situations you've been into, what have been some situations that you have, been in this situation where you have gone through with, non-consensual acts to wherever, you've done it. and this, I'm not blaming, I get it, okay? It's not blaming, it's not judgment. I don't do that. My question is trying to help you where you're not in those situations again, to get yourself out of it and to stop doing it no matter what, okay? Hey, Amy's in the house. Welcome. Treva, for 7 years, when, I'm assuming that's when I was married, it was always about him. 2 minutes, he got his and was done. Treva, that's shameful, man. I want to know, Treva, I appreciate you putting yourself out there and, helping other people in your situation and opening up the discussion. My question is, what made you go through that for 7 years of married? It was always about him, and I get that. Obligation or just doing them just to, shut them up or whatever. What made you not say no and say, hey, what about me? What about me getting pleased? And how many people are having sex, making love out of obligation, and you know what? Their sexual needs aren't even being met. It's like their partner doesn't even care about their needs. Plain and simple. Yes, believe it or not, people, it's men and it's women both, okay? So you look at those situations and, is it out of obligation? Oh, we're married because we have to have sex since we're married. We're living together, so I have to do this, right? Well, he pays the bills or she pays the bills, so I guess I got to do my duty. You know what? That's sad, man. That is, I'm laughing, whatever, but it's not funny. It's a situation to where, what keeps you in that situation, and what would it take for you to make non-consensual sex be more emotionally painful for you, where you're not going to do it any longer? You're going to say, you know what? Peace out. I'm done. That's it, okay? I'm done with this. I'm not going to be in this situation any longer. And you know what? I'm stopping. And if you don't like that, and if you don't respect me, you know what? Then maybe we should move on and move apart from one another. I'm all, like I said on every show, I'm all about you putting forth the effort and doing everything you can to make a relationship or marriage work. And there's some situations where, you know what? Your life is in danger. Your, emotional sanctity is at stake. That's a different situation. Then you need to get out and get to a healthier spot, okay? I know it's not easy out there, people. So don't be shy. Let me hear, what has caused you to be in these situations? You're having sex out of obligation, and maybe you're not only sex, you're in a relationship or you're in a marriage out of obligation, out of situation where, wedding vows, right? To death do us part, or unless we kill each other. No, don't do that, okay? We took vows. We're going to be miserable and just terrible, and we're going to have, obligatory sex once a month just to do it. You know what? We're miserable, but we did take those vows. You know what? And I don't take those vows lightly whatsoever either. However, there's a point in being, taking the vows and being loyal, and then being miserable and selling yourself out and being abused and being treated poorly throughout your life. I don't want anybody to live as a martyr. Not at all. So we'll look at 8, leaving was best thing for me. And I give you a lot of props for that, Treva. I know we talked. You've been a huge follower on the show. Cynthia, what's up? Welcome. Shauna, hey, what's going on? You mentioned, Shauna, when does marital sex become non-consensual? It is only when we are forced, or could it also be that we feel required to in order to satisfy, say, maybe a sex addict? That's good, Shauna. And you stop. At the beginning of the show, I talked about my belief about non-consensual sex, okay? And looking at the situation, my definition of non-consensual sex is when you are making love, you're having sex out of obligation, okay? Doing the wifely duty, husbandly duty, and you don't want to. Plain and simple. You're having non-consensual sex because you're guilted into it. You're shamed into it. You're manipulated, guilted into having sex when you don't want to. Part of this is being a people pleaser, a doormat, and some people also, you know what? It's more painful to listen to their spouse or partner complain and nag about not having sex, you know what? It's more painful for them to listen to that than, I'm just going to do it and throw out a charity, piece, if you will, out there. So that's when, Shauna, in any relationship, marriage or not, it becomes non-consensual when you're selling yourself out. And like I said, the old status is, consensual, non-consent, about rape. And I talked about this at the beginning of the show. But I'm not talking about rape now. I'll do another show about that, like I mentioned earlier. But going on, the non-consensual comes into, everybody assumes when you have sex, you're doing it because out of free will, because you want to. How many people have been in a situation where you've had sex because, I should do my duty. I should. It's been a month, so I guess I have to. That type of thing. Or, it's my wifely duty. It's my husbandly duty to have sex. That's not really consensual. You're doing it out of maybe obligation, out of pressure, out of manipulation. And I agree, you need to be strong enough, and that's what I'm talking about now. You need to be strong enough to say no and not to fall prey to the manipulation, to the guilt and shame. It's your body, it's your emotions at stake, and you need to fight for them and stand up for yourself, okay? So it's not easy. And hopefully, Shauna, that sort of helps sort of depict and helps you realize what sort of I'm talking about, differentiating between, like non-consensual sex as far as rape and also that situation being forced, okay? So hopefully that helps you out. And like I said, not only non-consensual sex, how many people are in a relationship, and I get it, we talk about non-consensual. Most people view this as being forced, as being held hostage in a situation, right? But maybe you're in a situation, again, we all have choices. I'm saying that. No matter if you have sex, you're in a relationship you don't want to be, or marriage you don't want to be, you know what? It's still your choice. I'm trying to help you to where, if your choice is not to be there and you're just going through the motions, why are you doing that? What is holding you back? What is more painful to get out of that situation and to be in more a consensual relationship, a consensual marriage where you're in love and you feel respected, you feel valued, and not, exploited, if you will, and it's all for the sake of your partner and not for you. Barb, hey, what's going on? Hi, Greg. I was married and was a stay-at-home mom. No funds, no family, nowhere to go. Out now 7 years later and feeling amazing. Barb, awesome. Happiness is possible. And I know your story, Barb, and I give you a lot of props because I know it's not an easy situation at all. So that's what I'm talking about, being in a non-consensual situation to where, you feel trapped. You feel these situations and maybe you're belittled. You're, ridiculed so much that your self-esteem is in the dirt. And you're in a situation that you don't want to be. And I get to a situation where, everybody has choices. Everybody assumes, like Barb, you mentioned, no funds, no family, nowhere to go. I have no choices. Everybody has choices. It's just being able to see clearly. And yes, some choices, some non-consensual situations, be it sex, be it in a marriage or relationship, an abusive relationship, you don't want to be there, and it's sort of non-consensual. You're doing it because, like Barb mentioned, no funds, no family, no help, nowhere to go. But part of the situation, part of that trap is you're looking at what is scary. Scary being homeless, scary being alone. These situations, again, they're not easy, okay, people? They're very difficult, but it's looking at you still have choices. You have choices, and you need to empower yourself or get help that can help you empower you to say no. And you know what? I'm not going to put up with this anymore, and I'm not going to be in a non-consensual relationship, and I'm not going to be guilted or manipulated into having sex. I value myself. You know what? I matter. My emotions matter. My body matters. So I'm going to get in that situation where I'm going to stop this situation, okay? Again, it's not easy. I get it. I get it very much, people. So we look at the situation, what is going to help you get out of that aspect and get the strength to say no. Maybe you need to get a job, part-time or whatever, to help you get the funds to get out of that situation. Again, it's not easy. Barb, I give you so much props for sharing your story. And I know, Barb, you mentioned you became homeless to escape, the abuse in a horrific relationship. Couldn't give my body to him any longer. And I give you a lot of props because it is very, very difficult. In a lot of situations, that, people have kids and you have no money, no job, and you're in abuse, a very, horrific situation, and you're like, what do I do? I have no money. If I leave, what do? I got kids. He doesn't want me working. If I get a job, who's going to watch the kids? I know these stories very, very well and very intimately, people from, thousands of clients over the years I've worked with, literally thousands of couples, of individuals that have been in this situation. And it's very difficult, you know what? It's not easy. So I give Barbara, I give you a huge applause, a huge round of props to get yourself into a healthy situation. And it's not easy, as you know. It's like fighting for yourself, and it's more difficult when the situation comes into row where it's, you know what, I'm going to be in a situation that's getting me healthy, and I'm going to try to do whatever I can to teach my kids. It's not right to be disrespected. It's not right to maybe give your body when you don't want to, or give yourself emotionally when you want to. And a lot of people, how many people have been, you know what, I give my body to shut that person up, but he'll never have my heart, she'll never have my soul. And you know what, but it's easy just to go through the motions. How many people have been in that situation? And I think a lot of people might be able to relate to it. And what do you think it needs? What do you think you need to be strong enough to be able to get out of situations and to be able to put your foot down and say, no, you know what, I don't want to have sex, I'm not in the mood to have sex, and I'm not going to have sex. You can whine, complain, beg, right? Beg me to have sex with you, I'm not going to do it. And you know what, ask your partner, ask them, why would they want to beg you to have sex with them? That's sad, right? It's very sad. Barb, oh, thanks. That means a lot coming from you. No, Barb, you know me. I'm being very genuine, very sincere when I give you props, because it takes a lot of guts to go through a situation that you've been through. Okay, so I give you a props, and a lot of other people that have been in similar situations as well, that have been got out of that situation. Okay, so I am going to take a little breather. Give me a call after break, 313-614-9498. And again, you know what? I'm going to be here live. Join the discussion. Ask your questions. Throw out your insight, people, okay? And this is the Art of Relationships radio show. Remember, you can share my book. Share this live video on your timeline. You'll have a chance to win one of 3 copies of my book, The Relationship Guide, Tools to Ignite Love and Intimacy. And this is also available on Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com too. So stay right here. Don't go anywhere. Keep the discussion going. I'm going to take a little breather, people. Do not go anywhere.
She's sitting on the dirt-ridden floor in her formal wear, and with one look, I swear she kills me. She's loud as hell, an embarrassment, one crazy bitch, but she's lovely and she's addictive. My nicotine, the one from my dreams in the morning, and she's vindictive. She makes me wish that girls like this came with warning, and we drive each other absolutely insane. But it would be a crime for us to stay away. So I we're absolutely insane. But it would be a crime for us to stay away. So what's it gonna be? Have this dance, the room for romance, and this spiteful little connection. Will you take my hand and we can pretend that there will never ever be any problem? 'Cause when I look into her eyes, I forget them. She spins it through the light and regret them. Pretend that everything is fine with the way them. Can I have this dance? Whoa, you know, you got me going so. So what's it gonna be? Can I have this dance? Is there room for romance and this spiteful little connection? Will you take my hand and we can pretend? So what's it gonna be? Can I have this dance? Is there room for romance and this spiteful little connection? Will you take my hand and we can pretend that there will never ever be any problem? 'Cause when I look into her eyes, I forget them. She spins it through the light and regret them. Pretend that everything's fine with them.
Hey everybody, we're back. This is the Art of Relationships radio show. I'm your host, Greg Dudzinski, Detroit's Love Guru, coming to you live from Metro Detroit, actually from my office. Hopefully everybody's doing well and enjoying the topic. We're talking about non-consensual sex and also about maybe being in non-consensual relationships. Yeah, we all talk about free will and free choice. Some people find that very difficult, and when I'm talking about the meaning I say about non-consensual sex, you know what, we talk about rape, okay? But this, I'm throwing a new twist and a new meaning on it, and I'm not belittling rape whatsoever. Definitely not. But this is about situations where you feel you're having sex or being in a relationship because you feel guilty, you feel manipulated, you feel maybe stuck. So you're going to go through the motions and have sex when you don't want to just to shut your partner up, or, you know what, I feel guilty so I'm going to do it anyways. You're not there. You're just having your body, your emotions, your heart, your soul aren't into it. Why are you doing that to yourself? Okay, my challenge to you is to get done with that situation, to have self-respect, and you know what, gain the confidence to be able to get yourself out of that situation. It's not easy, as you know, you're reading the discussion below this live video, Barb's little tale about the situation she went through to get to a healthier situation. Okay, hey Cynthia, I stayed living in the home for almost 2 years while going through a divorce. After him constantly saying you're still my wife until we are divorced. So you have no choice but to give me what I want. That is sad. That is pathetic. And that guy, you know what, your ex would need to be hit upside the head. Yeah, I can be violent in those situations. I don't promote it, but I look at, you know what, that's bullshit, and that's ridiculous. And that's what I talked about. And actually, I think you chimed in a little late, Cynthia, and I talked about that situation about, oh, because you're my wife, you owe it to me. You're obligated to have sex with me whenever I want. And I've heard this, not from a lot, but I've heard this from, you know what, numerous guys over the years. My wife, Greg, she's supposed to have sex with me, and I just cringe, man. I'm like, for one thing, where do you get that ideology from, that myth from? Number two is, why would you want your wife to have sex with you, you know what, when she doesn't want to, when she feels like she has to? That's sad. That is just, you know what, that's not being a man. That's sort of being a boy. And there's a big difference, okay? So I grabbed my son and walked out and never looked back. Cynthia, as you know, I know your story very well. And as Barb, I'm giving you props for getting into a very healthy situation that you're in now. And I know it took years, and you're happy and been in a great situation for a lot of years now. So listen up, people. These people are sharing their stories to help empower you that it is possible to get out of these situations and to stop selling yourself out, yes, like I said, stop selling yourself out and doing stuff you really don't want to do that are against your essence of who you are morally and, your values. And I talk about, swinging, poly, they all have values and morals. Everybody does. It's about selling out what is wrong for you, okay? Shauna, make a decision to be done. Decide life is too short to be in a toxic relationship. And Shauna, that's great advice, but it's also not easy. And I give that advice. You need to make a decision. What can I do to get myself out of it? And it's scary. And a lot of people, in situations, I've dealt with a lot of people that have been in abusive situations, abusive relationships, marriages, physically, emotionally. And it gets a situation where people tell them, just get the hell out, get out, leave, whatever. And it's not that easy. You know what? They could be scared that they're going to get killed. They have, again, no money, no friends, no family. Where are they going to go? The shelters, women's shelters, abuse networks, they're all full, they're all packed. So there's nowhere to go. What do? You have no money. You might get a car or whatever, but you might be able to get a bus, but you need money. All these situations. Now you have kids. Now say you have kids in diapers. What do? It's not as easy as a lot of people assume that you just get the hell out of here. I want you to be wise and first decide, I'm not going to put up with this anymore. And now what do I have to do to prepare myself emotionally, physically, and try to get resources lined up so you can get out of those situations, okay? And I know we're sort of going into the abusive relationship situation. I guess it all ties together with non-consensual sex. But I want to know what keeps you. Is it keeps you in a situation where you might have sex when you don't want to? You know what? When you look at the situation, loving the glasses, very handsome. What? The glasses? What glasses? I'm trying to look at what glasses are you talking about? That's what I'm trying to figure out. What? Love the glasses. I don't know who you're talking about. But anyway, Treva, I'm not wearing glasses. I'm saying glasses. What are you looking at? So, okay, Treva, to people who stay in unhappy situations because of the kids, don't. Think of yourself and kids not to do that. And that's great advice, Treva. And again, you need to set the resources in place and try to, prepare yourself emotionally, physically, and, resources out there. Try to reach out to, neglect and abuse groups. Check with other, shelter situations. Check with maybe friends, co-workers. You know what? There's so many people that are willing to help you if you are willing to help yourself. A lot of people, I think, they get frustrated trying to help people in these situations to where, they help them again. They help them 5, 10 times, and they keep going back in those situations. And that's where people get, isolated because they're not taking the help. They go back in a toxic situation again. What other situations do you feel you've been into where you're just having sex just to have it, okay? They're just to have it, just to go in a situation to where, you're getting out of it. You're not going through this anymore. You're stopping. You know what? I'm not going to make love with you. You can beg, plead all you want. I'm just going to walk away. You know what? And again, if they physically force you to have sex, that is rape. No matter if you're married, in a relationship, living with somebody, I don't care. That is rape, okay? And you have a right to file charges against that person and PPO and all that aspect. So yes, it is possible you can be raped in a marriage. You can be raped in a committed relationship. And that's where you need to get help in a PPO. That might get that person out of the house, out of your environment for a while, okay? So that's another way. No, I'm not saying you manipulate that situation or lie. I'm never about lying and manipulating situations because I'm all about, if you lie and manipulate about a certain situation, then you need to do the time and the punishment for you lying. You do the same punishment as if you did that crime for lying. So don't be in that situation. Cynthia, there is always someone to listen, someone to help, but you have to take that step. Never stop asking. That's great advice again, Cynthia. In a lot of situations we talk about, having non-consensual sex with your partner or being in a non-consensual relationship. You know what? It's not easy. I understand that very much, and I'm here to help you, and others are here to help you as well, to be in a situation to where, you know what, I'm going to stop it. Number one, I want you to understand, why are you doing it? Number one, that's going to help. Are you doing it because you have a bleeding heart? You feel guilty. Well, we are married. I guess I have to. I want you to change your mindset, number one, okay? You do not have to have sex or make love with somebody if you do not want to, okay? And I want you to embrace yourself, and I want you to empower yourself no matter if they beg, they cry. Yes, there's been people crying. There's been people manipulating. There's been people trying to bash you, belittle you into having sex with them. And yes, they're your partner. They're your spouse. I want you to be prepared for this. You might be already there now to say, you know what, I want you to become numb to it, okay? It's one of those situations where I don't care what you say, it's not going to affect me anymore, okay? That's number two. What you say is not going to affect me anymore. If you don't care about how I feel, I'm going to stop caring about what you say to me. Again, people, I'm telling you, it's not easy, okay? Emotionally, it is not that easy. I make it sound easy. It's not easy at all, okay? But I want you to get to that situation now. Number three, to get resources in place and look at what do you do to get out of that situation if your partner is not willing to change and become the partner that you deserve and you want, and to stop begging and pleading you to be with them and to have sex with them, okay? So those are the three aspects I want you to look at. And, the final one, try to get friends, family members, friends, co-workers, okay? Try to reach out and ask for help, suggestions, what you can do. Call, hotlines, shelters, abuse, neglect hotlines. They're out there, okay? So get a hold of those situations and stop putting yourself out there and feeling, guilted into being with somebody. Guilted or manipulated into having sex with somebody, even if it's your husband, your wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, partner, whatever, okay? I want you to empower yourself to get you out of that situation, okay? And if you ever need help, you can private message me. No big deal, right here, okay? Email me. Go to my website, theartofrelationships.org. You can find my email there, and you can email me that way, too. Anything I can do to help. Also, again, one more chance, share this live video, the Art of Relationships radio show, on your timeline for a chance to win my book, The Relationship Guide, Tools to Ignite Love and Intimacy. I'm going to raffle off 3 copies of that, and I'll announce the winners. I'm going to post the winners here on my Facebook pages tomorrow morning, and announce the winners, okay? And you can send me your address, or if you prefer ebook, PDF file, I'll do that, whatever works for you, okay? And what else? I want to thank everybody for listening, everyone participating into the show, and I definitely appreciate the support I've been getting over the years. It helps me help you and help others out there, okay? One more thing before I let you go. I'm going to look at the situation to where, one more thing before we go, okay? Cynthia, how many people have sex early in a relationship because they like someone and convince themselves having sex is the only way to keep them? You know what? That's true. I see this a lot with teens and young adults because television brainwashes them. Peer pressure, exactly. Cynthia, you brought up a great point, and this is a good point the finish on too. That a lot of people, you know what, I want him to like me. And there's boys, I'm telling you, there's a lot of teen boys I've worked with over the years too that they're not ready. They don't want to have sex, and they feel pressured because the girl wants to have sex with them, and they feel they should for the same aspect. So it works with both genders. The peer pressure about having, sex in a situation because, you know what, I don't want to lose them. I don't want them. But then you sell yourself out, okay? You have sex when you're ready to, not because you're guilt tripped into. You don't want to have sex with someone because you're fearful of losing that person, okay? You want that person to like you and to be with you. And yes, you can go in a situation, take a stand. You know what? I'm not going to be in a relationship where I don't have sex. But there's time frames. It's what works best for both of you. You know what? I'm not going to beg you. I'm not going to plead with you to make love with me. You can take a stand without manipulating, without guilt tripping, without bashing, blaming. Those type of situations, okay? So I want you to be able to empower yourself, empower your teens to be able to say no. And you don't just tell them to say no. You need to get with them emotionally and tell them you understand where they're coming from. Maybe you've been there, okay? And they might think, yeah, you're just telling me this. No, get with her. I get that. You really like that boy. You like that girl. And you don't want to lose them. But I want you to have self-respect. I know it's so hard, but I'm here to help you. I'm here to teach you, okay? So come from that perspective. It's genuine. It's real, okay? I'm always coming from a point of being genuine and real and no BS, no manipulation, no lies with my clients, with anybody, okay? You come real and you come legit from the heart, and you're going to have a lot better outcome most of the time. I can't, 100% it ain't going to happen. But most of the time, you're going to have a lot better outcome, okay? And not only that, you need to do that to yourself and come real and come honest and genuine with yourself and what you're going to put up with and what you're not, and to stick to it, okay? So, everybody, peace. Make sure you share this for a chance to win my book. Go to my website, theartofrelationships.org, okay? And you got a chance. I have a 28 days to ignite your relationship self-study program. It's cheap, people. It's cheaper than one session with me, and I'm cheap anyways. I put it together to help you have the relationship you crave, okay? So check it out, theartofrelationships.org. And again, much gratitude and thanks for all your support and the following I've been getting for these years and doing the show and helping everybody out there, okay? Peace and love, everybody. You take care. Have a great night. Bye-bye.